Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Next Level Real Talk Podcast, where we have conversations on the journey of personal transformation and the pursuit of lasting peace and happiness with Sheldon and David. And welcome back to another episode of Next Level Real Talk Podcast with Sheldon and David. David, how you doing?
Doing great. Had a great week, and it's been beautiful weather over here in Phoenix, Arizona. So I'll say Mesa. Sorry, I live in Mesa.
Yeah, and beautiful weather out here too. It's spring, and that is the time, right?
Yeah,
New
so it's beautiful.
beginnings, things are happening. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, flowers are blooming, all that kind of good stuff. It's like new
Exactly.
life coming back after the dark
Yeah.
winter, right?
Exactly. Not that we had a dark winter
Yeah,
here,
right.
but we had a hot winter here, which
Yeah.
is weird. And I hope I'm gonna kind of jump into things right away. I'm hoping that with all of that, wherever you are, your weather is improving, getting good, getting that, as Sheldon said, that beautiful springtime atmosphere. And as we talked last week, I hope that positiveness of the weather has brought you into you practicing peace through any problems that you had. As we talked about, practice peace rather than practicing your problems. So we hope if you had some issues come up that you worked through it with peace. So you practice that peace, and every day you woke up with an open, receiving, and loving mind. So that's kind of I worked out on that myself, and
That's beautiful, dude.
yeah. So yeah, so hope that was just a recap of last week. So I hope you got there and got to do that a
And
little bit. So
yeah, and I guess we were saying, hey, should we talk about we do, just so everybody knows, we actually do a little moment of silence. Uh, Dave and I
mhm.
do before we start every one of these podcasts. And we just did one right before we hit the record button and start this. And every time we do it, you know, it feels good, right? Like, and
Yeah,
we were just saying, oh, that
yeah,
felt really good. Maybe we should mention that, talk about it,
yeah. It's like
Um, because those things,
because
and sometimes we'll talk and it's intense, right? And you're, or whatever,
mhm,
life's life. And that thing always just sort of goes, and
yeah. Mhm.
this one lasted what, a minute or two?
A
It was,
minute, yeah.
it was
Yeah,
very
it's just
short.
good to relax ourselves, relax our bodies, but it's like that's what you need to do every day, I mean,
Yes.
throughout the day, because you just
Yes.
kinda nice and relaxing. And so
Yes.
it's and it's funny how we always say, "No, it felt good." Well, wait, it did last week too. Oops, I
Yeah.
guess it always feels good, but
Yeah. It
I
always
just we
feels
notice it.
it. Taking a moment always feels good to just stop everything. And I was literally talking to a guy who was a smoker, a regional manager at my work who was a
Mhm,
smoker. And I told him this, what I think, you stop what you do, you go outside and you breathe deeply for a moment.
mhm.
And you kind of just don't do anything but sit there and go,
Yep.
I go, I think it's the break and the breathing that's as
Mhm.
important as the smoking. Like you can,
Yeah.
people stop smoking, they stop the brakes, and then they feel the stress. I said, "Just keep doing the break.
Mhm.
Just don't
Yeah.
smoke.
Take
you know,
take a smoke break without the cigarette.
yeah. Take a break
I
without the
mean,
cigarette. Call it a
yep.
whatever. Call it. You can call it
Mhm.
your smoke break, right? Just don't smoke. Just keep doing
Yep.
them, but breathe like you're smoking.
Mhm. Yep.
Because
Exactly.
that deep breathing is relaxing to the body, and us taking that moment always feels like it reconnects, right? It's like there's this
Mhm.
connection, both me to you, to each other, but also um, to God, to our higher power, whatever you want to call that, right? To the universe. Like it just feels like your mind quiets and you feel connected, and then it kind of does a your body kind of goes down a level in terms of the stress
Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff, and then we're in it. So can't emphasize that enough with all the stuff going on, right? To
Yeah.
take those moments to
Yep. S Calm down, stop, drop, and
yep,
just breathe.
yep,
So just take it ta it doesn't take long, takes a minute.
yep,
So, and and this week we kinda wanna, talk about several topics possibly. We'll see where we're gonna go, but, Sheldon and I were talking before about a God wink that I should have paid attention to, that, we talked about several times that pay attention to those God winks, and I did not pay it
yeah.
wasn't a bad thing. It didn't cause any bad
You
situations, but it
kind
was
of
like
did, but you kind of didn't, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll go there, yeah. Good
Yes,
point.
you kind of did, but you the whole time you're like, ah. So anyway, it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
So it's, and we talk about, listening to not the gut feeling, but the inner voice, sometimes that good inner voice, there's bad inner voices, good inner voices. So this is that God wink and God telling me something I didn't pay attention to. So when I get up, I have a chance to go either. I usually go US 60 and from Mesa to downtown Phoenix, and that's my straight route. If there's issues, I take the 202, which is called the Red Mountain. Okay, in that direction, I go from Sand to Red Mountain. And so yesterday, I woke up and said, you know what? I'm a little hungry. Don't have anything for breakfast. Don't plan on lunch. So I better just let's go get a bagel on the way. Why not? Treat myself to a bagel and a coffee. There we go. Let's do this. So I have to decide before I leave because the two different freeways. It depends on which direction I'm going to leave my house of which freeway I'm going to take. And so I take the direction of going to the 202. And before I'm even out of my main area, my neighborhood, the traffic comes on. So traffic comes on. It says, okay, yeah, this is that. Oh, the Red Mountain Freeway over at Priest westbound, which is where I'm going, is going to be shutting down. There's a motorcycle accident, this and that. There's this there. There's this there. So you may want to start talking about all the exits. I'm like, that's right where I'm going. And I said, well, so thankfully, as I'm on getting on the 202, I can get on the 60. So once I pass the 60, it's over. Okay, you're dead. There's no other freeway to get off on. So that was good timing.
So
Thank you, Lord.
when you get on the 202, you have one quick opportunity to still
Yeah.
detour to 60.
I have a mile and a quarter to
Yeah.
make a decision. Yeah, and it's over. So it was like, okay. And I was not gonna lie to you. It's like, okay, thank you, Lord. I guess I'm not gonna get a bagel today. I guess for some reason I'm not gonna get a bagel, or something's gonna happen on the freeway. I don't know what's going on. You don't want me going that way.
You're
Cool.
like, but I really want my bagel.
In the back of my head. So I'm driving, going like, okay, whatever. I'm like, man, that bagel would be good though. That bagel really would be good. And I go, could still get it a different direction. Oh, no, okay. We'll just keep going. I thought about getting off the 101 or going to the 143. Oh yeah, the 143 and going in because that could get me around the accident. I said, no, just go to school. It's fine. I go, you'll get something. And my birthday is coming up, and so my student assistants have decided we're going to do a little birthday party. We always do it for certain people, we do it for our student assistants, and then they want to do one for me. And so I'm not going to be there Monday. So we said, let's not do Friday because it's Good Friday. Let's not do Monday because I won't be there. And Tuesday, I got a funeral to go to, so I'll be there for half a day. So let's just do it Wednesday. Cool. The plan was Wednesday. It's all about Wednesday. We're going to do Wednesday. Cool. Wednesday, we'll celebrate my party. So I'm driving going, you know what? I'm early.
And what day is
and
this?
I'm hungry. This is Friday.
Friday.
This is on
This is Friday.
This is on a
Okay.
Friday. Yeah. So this is on a Friday. And so I'm like, you know what? It's Friday. I'm getting my bagel. I'm early. There's nothing going on today. So get the bagel. So I get on the 202, going the opposite direction now. From the 10 to the 202. So I go about a mile and a half. So it's not going way off traffic. And so I go to the bagel shop, get my bagel, whoop, whoop, in my bag. And so I get to school, get everything out of my truck, and I walk into my library, to my area, and it's decorated for birthday. There's balloons, there's streamers, there's happy birthday stuff, there's stuff set up for a party, and then on the big screen it says, "It's Smitty's birthday, it's Smitty's birthday, whoop whoop." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we're doing it today. I wasn't supposed to get a bagel." That was God. That was my inner talk. God going, you don't need a bagel today. You don't need to go buy the bagel. And I'm like, dang it, I didn't listen to it this time. It's like at least it wasn't a drastic bad not listening to it. But it's one of those, and I know we talk about it, we laugh about it. I call them the God winks, but that's that inner voice that helps. Yeah. Sometimes you got to listen to it and go like, I should have said, you know what? There's some reason why I'm not. It's come up several times. It didn't come up once. It was several times going, and it wasn't like, oh, turn left because you're going to get an accident on the right side. No, we'll just, dude, you're being taken care of. They're buying you lunch. They're buying you breakfast. So you're going to be so fat by the time you leave that library on Friday afternoon. You're going to want to roll home.
If you're on a diet, this is on off day.
Yeah, that was off days.
Take the pause.
Was a huge one. I had donuts. I had pizza. I had chips. It was bad. It was everything I shouldn't have been eating. I was eating, so it was good. But it kind of brings up that thing about sometimes. And that was a fun thing. I thought God winks are some of the fun things. But sometimes we get into those dark things and we don't listen. We only listen to our own thoughts, which is what I was doing. I was looking at me, and going,
you said your pastor had done a sermon very similar, right?
Yeah. He was talking about if you're in the dark space, and even if you're not in a dark space, you're just like where I was. In a dark space, we tend to listen to our own thoughts, our own emotions, and I wrote it down, and our own resources.
Yeah.
Like,
I like
sometimes when
that.
you get there, you don't have the opportunity to, well, my resources and my emotions and my thoughts may be like, that's why I'm there.
Right.
I need to reach out to somebody and say, my wolf pack, and
Yeah.
say, hey, this is where I'm going down. This is what am I thinking? What am I doing? It's like, oh, well, don't think of it this way. Like, oh, I should have thought of it this way.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of help you walk through that dark spot.
Yeah.
And so that comes straight out of the Bible, 2 Corinthians 10, is it 4 through 5? 4 through 5. So if you read that, it's more God based, which
Mm.
obviously I love. But no matter where you're coming from, whether you listen to God, your higher power, whatever you're listening to, um, listen to that positive resource and go like, wow, okay, these are where my thoughts are. What am I feeling? If you take that time to breathe and meditate, that allows your thoughts and resources and emotions to calm down and receive other thoughts, resources, and emotions that might be out there.
Mhm.
So,
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
and
It
your
even
friends, you'll be open to friends, what they're saying. So,
yeah, even Einstein says that what the level of the mind that, caused the problem can't solve the problem. You have to elevate
yes.
the level, something like that.
Mm.
He says
Oh,
it
I
really
love that.
beautifully, right? But you
Uh-huh.
have to elevate the mind, and the God mind is the highest mind, right?
Yeah.
And that's what your pastor's like. What are you resourcing? Are you resourcing from your own mind and your own thoughts and your own patterns? And
Mhm.
those are all patterns, right? So
Yeah.
that's something that, I know Jacqueline's been looking at as patterns, the belief systems that you're raised in, the way that we were almost indoctrinated into certain belief systems in the world.
Mhm.
Like, oh, this is how it is. This is what, that those are all patterns that can be limiting, right?
Mhm.
And then if you have a problem within a certain pattern, how do you get outside of that pattern? How do you resource above higher?
Yeah.
Friends are
Eh
absolutely one powerful way of doing that, but if they're all in the same pattern, sometimes that can be even tricky, right? And so what is the
Mhm.
ultimate resource? If you wanna go all the way, you know,
Yeah.
going
Exact
in
and
going
when I was going through, the divorce at school, they all told me, "Don't go," because we have free counseling, okay, they have, like, well, it's weird. We get 5 free counseling sessions or whatever,
Mhm.
it's like, "Oh, man," and so everyone else, "Don't do it," because then district will know that you went, they'll know you got issues, and they'll kinda conspiracy theory
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
was going like I'm going, "Yeah, but I need help. I
yeah,
don't know if I can pay for it right now."
yeah,
And so I went to a therapist because the world says for men,
yeah,
I'm not sure how deep for women, but for men, going to therapy, that means you have
yeah,
a problem. Well, yeah, I
yeah,
did have a problem, by the way.
yeah,
And so it's a very negative stigma out there that says I
yeah,
shouldn't be doing that.
right,
And I went, and I tell you what, I went to a lot of sessions,
yeah,
and I didn't pay for one.
yeah,
Phoenix Union paid for the entire thing or
yeah,
whatever insurance it was, and I was never looked down upon.
yeah,
Um, at
and
least
it
from
helped,
I don't.
and it
Yeah. Oh, it
helped.
helped me a lot.
Yeah,
Yes.
you needed it.
Yes. Mhm.
It hel
And I used that. I used your meditation. I used your thought processing. I used my wolf pack, and so I used a lot of resources
Yep,
that that weren't my resources.
yes.
They
You went
weren't
out
mine.
Yep,
They
you
were,
went
and
outside of
my
yourself.
yeah, my emotions obviously were bleh. And
Yeah,
so I was, yes, I'm going with my emotions, but people were helping me go through those emotions. They were helping me go through my thoughts that were kind of deep and dark,
yeah.
and kind
We
of
talk
get me
about
through the process.
we talk about that willingness to accept, right, what is. And that's one of
Hmm.
the things that you were able to do, right? I admit I have, and in the 12 steps, it's like admitting, oh, my life's a freaking mess and I did it. And so
Hmm.
I need to surrender to a higher power. That's literally, the first steps of the
That's first
12 steps,
step.
the first,
Admitting.
and that's what
Mhm.
you're able to say, you know what? Hey, I'm in a bad situation here. And
Mhm.
people are like, "Oh, don't go, don't seek help." But yeah, but I am in a bad situation. I need help.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? The
yeah.
humbleness, the humility to be able to just say that, to admit that to yourself. Hey, I am in a bad situation here, and I do need
Mhm.
some help, and I need to reach out. Is a huge, again, taking it back, right? That's a huge first step that is hard for a lot of us, a lot of
Oh,
people,
yeah.
right, to be willing to do. And I think that that's the again, that key for you was that first step. You were able to do the first step first, right?
Mhm.
Which is say, hey,
Yeah.
you know, and so, as a message to people that might be listening, hey, if you're having a hard time, be willing to admit that.
Yeah.
If life is
Mhm.
stressing you out and things are, being willing to admit that is the first step to being able to resource from anything other than yourself. Otherwise, you're going to think, I
Mhm.
got this. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I can handle it. Right. And
And that brings up the saying, "It's okay not to be okay."
yeah,
I love that saying because we all say, "Oh, I'm okay, but inside we're not. you know. And if you are saying you're okay and you're not, you're suppressing that inside. That's
Mhm.
making you hurt.
Mm.
You don't think so, but that's making you hurt more,
Yeah.
and that's keeping you from moving forward and getting through that process.
Right.
And so you now have this box inside of you, whatever you want to call it, this ball, this box, whatever. There, you are now hoarding that, and that's a God, that's a disease inside of you. You
Yeah.
know, it's an emotional disease inside
Yep.
of you that's just going to eat you alive.
Yep.
So, so let it out, let it go. I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah.
I'm just like, hey, I need help. It's
Yeah.
because that's telling people, that's being very vulnerable, very
Yes.
vulnerable. But from that spot, when I jumped into that help, that I grew so much more rather
Mm.
than sit in my own little world. I grew that hard step of fear. I jumped and I felt so comfortable. Yes, it was a long road, but I had the resources. I had all the
Yeah.
people to help me. I had the wolf pack,
Yep.
and I had that support. So yeah, that's something you got to do right away. Just I'm here. This
Yep.
sucks, people. What am I going to do?
Yep.
Because my two friends I know right off the bat, if they know who they are if they're listening, um, if they didn't reach out to me because I had gone through it, they had questions, they would have gone really deep, dark into the
Mhm.
problems. They helped me through mine, and ironically, I got helped them through their situation.
Yep.
So don't be afraid to reach out because that person may be the person that has the resource,
Yep.
or if they can't really help, say, "Hey, I got somebody that can help you." You know, and so that's what one of my friends, one of my wolf packs, when I was going through it, I go, "Do I get a lawyer? I don't. Who do I call? I don't know who lawyers are." And she's like, "You know what? A friend of a friend used this lawyer and said they were wonderful. I want you to use this lawyer." Called Wendy Hernandez. God bless Wendy Hernandez's family law firm because she's awesome. Love her to death. You know, kudos to her. Shout out. Um, she walked me through everything. Walked me through, and she wasn't just my lawyer. I'm gonna go a little side story, but this is how you when someone you when you reach out to people, they give you the right people.
Mhm.
Um, so I would go in sometimes. When I met with her, I was excited, but then I was sad because it's a lot more money because she was
Mhm.
the head of the firm.
Mhm.
I always like meeting with the associate because it's
Mhm.
less expensive.
Yep.
So I would walk in with her and she'd have the book, the binder open, I call it my Bible. Um, she'd have it open. She'd look at me and goes, "Hey, how you doing?" I go, "I'm doing fine." She'd slam it shut. And she goes, "I'm asking you, how are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, not just the, hey, yeah, walk by, I'm doing
Yeah.
fine." And we'd sit there, I'd start crying, we'd be talking, we'd go through the process. She's like, "Okay, now we're ready to talk." Boom. And that's when she started charging me. She didn't charge me for the first part.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's like, "Nope,
It's
I need to know how you're doing first." And she let me get that crap out. And then we could, and basically, oh my gosh, now that I'm
it's
looking
like a
at it,
it's like a therapy session right there.
yeah,
Bill.
she did my little meditation, my own talking together, did a meditation for me to
Mhm.
get all that crap out so
Mhm.
that now we can talk and I can get all the minutia out
Mhm.
that I didn't want in there. We talk about when you stop, drop, and breathe, it allows you to calm down the brain and go. And
Mhm.
that's exactly what she was doing. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I just
Yeah.
recognize it right
Yeah.
now, this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
Um, so, but she was wonderful, and I love her to death for all she did. But she got me through that, and it was a tough journey, but she got me through it in a positive way, and saying, "Hey, life sucks,
Yep.
divorce sucks, but you're gonna be
Yep.
fine."
And,
So,
we always say awareness, acknowledging an awareness is the first step, right? But it's a
mhm,
huge step. It's a huge and vital and important step, but it is just the first step, right?
yes,
Like,
hmm
hey, I got, in the 10 steps, hey, I have a problem. I screwed my life up
hmm
or whatever, right? Or the 12 steps. Did I say 10? The 12 steps.
yeah,
But um, but also, even if you're just feeling a lot of stress or you're feeling a lot of fear or you're feeling a lot of anxiety right now in the world, because there's a lot going on. Recognizing
hmm
that you have that and acknowledging that to yourself is huge. It's the first step to, are there resources that I can use to help me
yeah,
deal with all of this stuff? And I think that if there's one thing we're talking about is whether it's from, your pastor's sermon is the ultimate resource, go to God, right?
hmm
But there are many intermediate resources, go to your friends,
hmm
talk to people. You can, sometimes you can find resources online or whatever, right? But
yep,
recognizing that we don't have to live with stress and anxiety and fear all the time. Like, that is
because
not a normal state.
no, And there's a lot of fear right now, and we're not gonna get into politics right now, but everybody knows right now there is fear running rampant
Yeah.
right now.
There's a
Um,
tremendous amount of uncertainty in the world,
yeah,
right?
and that's the word, uncertainty.
And it
Not only just in
generates
our country, but all over the world,
the world,
and so
right? And
that's
that
causing a lot.
generates fear, right? When you're
Mhm,
not certain, you know, uh, the way I look at it is it also creates the opportunity or the the focus, right? To look at um, how do you deal with that fear fundamentally? And for me, it's like, what is the ultimate resource? The ultimate resource is your higher power, God, whatever you want to call that, right?
mhm,
Is turning to that ultimate resource. And yes, the other resources work and are necessary, right? It's part of that process, right? Friends,
mhm,
sometimes the internet can be a resource, right? You can Google at sources and, hey, how do I do this? What do I blah blah blah? There are
yep,
ways that you can get
mhm,
through things that are above or beyond yourself, right? In your own
yeah,
limited way of thinking and looking at things.
mhm,
Um, but all of there's so much uncertainty right now that's generating so much fear and anxiety in the world, that we need ways to cope with that, right? We need
mhm,
ways to come to a level of clarity and peace within her. And that's what we've been talking about this podcast for the last, year and a half or whatever we've been doing this thing, right? Is how do you do that, right? Meditation is part of it, prayer is part of that, right? Um, friends is part of that. Your wolf pack is part of that, right? But that
yeah,
that seems more important than ever right now to acknowledge that, yeah, I could use some help right now, and to be able to
mhm,
reach out to whatever that is, um, and to letting go of the idea that Teal Swan talks about where human beings are wolf pack animals, right? We are a pack
mhm,
animal. We're not independent. Americans like that idea that we're independent and strong and we can do things on our
mhm,
own. But we need people,
but we
you
need
know.
people,
We need each
need
other. We need
community,
family. Yeah, we
mhm,
need community. Um, you know, and again, not to get into politics, do we need the world community? You know?
yeah.
Do we need the world community? Okay. You know, can you do trade?
Some ways
Oh,
we do, some days we don't. Yeah,
yes,
there's different ways,
yes. There's
and,
different ways you
and
can
that's
do
a
that.
mhm, and it's a and when you have a fear of whatever's going on in the world, when you're talking to others, now there's times to talk politics with friends, go ahead and do that. But if you're coming through a fear situation and you start going into getting deep into politics, and that makes that fear possibly go more. You want to be talking like, hey, how do I work through it? Not how do I, fight this situation? How do I get through the situation? If that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense on that one.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
because it's hard. I mean,
yeah.
because you can start arguing and fighting and getting mad and getting upset, but it's like, whoa, stop.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm upset, but there's a TV show that I was watching, a series, and he goes, when people are doing things, sometimes look, they're trying to divide us. They're trying to get us to fight against each other,
Mhm.
and when we fight against each other, they won.
Yeah.
And we start getting mad and we separate. We don't come together,
Yeah.
and so that's the one thing. It's like, yeah, you can still be upset at something, but how do you work through that situation rather than
Yeah.
get more agitated? And,
Jack
and you
Jacqueline
know,
talks about when you talk about your
mhm,
wolf pack helped you get through, right?
mhm,
You have a wolf pack that helped elevate your thinking, that helped
mhm,
you to get through something. And without getting into the fear or the negativity of the situation, rather than going, yeah, she's really a bitch, you know what I mean, or whatever,
mhm,
with your divorce. Oh man, yeah,
yeah,
I can't believe that. She, what, right? Without getting
mhm,
into the name calling and all the stuff, right? How do you
mhm,
just get through it without getting caught in it?
yeah,
Right. And so
mhm,
then the wolf pack and who you choose for your wolf pack does matter, right? So
yes.
Jacqueline would always talk about that. You don't want, when you're in a dark place, you don't want somebody going, yeah, I'm a dark place too, man. It really sucks in this dark place. And you just, the two of you sit in your dark place and commiserate
Mhm.
together, right?
Yeah,
Let's go get
exactly.
a drink, or you know what I mean? Let's go do, you know what I mean? It's just like, hey, and sometimes drinking's okay, right? But
Mhm.
really about how do we elevate, and is there somebody that's going to recognize and hold space for you being in that dark place, but
Yeah,
also raise you up, right? Help you to
and I love how you just said that. I just really love it how it's like you're in it, you're not going at the like, I wasn't going at her being angry and
right.
I said, I could
Right,
do that. Yeah,
right.
that's one mechanism. Go there for a
So
while if you
and
need to.
sometimes there's a part of that catharsis you need to do a little of
Yes.
that. You need to release it
Yeah.
out, right?
But to get through it in peace, you
Yeah.
need to be talking to someone saying, "Okay, here's where we are. How are we gonna work through this?"
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
and not make it such an anger thing.
Yep.
Make it such a how do we work through it?
Yep.
It's a problem.
Yep.
How do you work through this problem
Yep.
with peace
Yep.
in yourself?
Yep.
So, yeah.
And it's, Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk, has this saying that says, "Be the peace you want to see in the world." And
Mhm.
it's so simple. It's on bumper stickers, right? But it's the same thing, right? If you want to find peace in the world, you have to find peace in yourself first, right? You can't give what you
Mhm.
don't have. And if we're all connected energetically, which I believe we are, and we're all communal beings, right? Uh, then you know and I teach this in the shops that I train all the time. It's just like, hey, you can't sit there and we the other episode with the rice experiment, right? Hey,
Mhm.
your energy matters. What you bring matters, right? You can't sit there and say, hey, when everybody changes on this team, when my family is different, when
Yeah.
my brother behaves differently, when my sister behaves differently, when my parents change, then I'll be happy. It's just like, it's not going to work.
No. It's gotta
We all
come from
try
you,
that for
and
a
then
while. We all try
yeah.
that for a while, but how long does that work? And then at some point, you have to
Mhm.
be able to say, okay, this is what it is. How do I shift within myself, right?
Yeah.
And you can, and that's I think the key is you can, um, and you know, there are many different ways in which you can do that, but
Yep. Totally.
meditation is part of that. Resourcing. Who is your resources, your wolf pack, and um, spiritual practice, whatever that might be. Those things are all helpful tools, but also just acknowledging and starting to that exploration for yourself. It is a journey. Uh, it is a journey, and it's a journey worth taking. Carl Jung said that the unexplored um, life is not worth living. I think that's what the quote was. The
Mhm.
unexplored life, unexamined life, is not worth living. Like when you're
Mm.
living your life, you need to examine it, right? And
Mhm.
let's spend some time, and that's
To
worthy. Because
yeah,
again,
be in
like
the moment and
yeah,
be live the moment, in other words,
yes,
basically.
it
Yeah.
allows you to live the moment because you've examined and you've explored and you've uncovered and
Mhm.
unpacked, and then your happiness matters, like Sandra would say, my friend Sandra. Shout out to Sandra.
Mhm.
Hey, you're worth it to spend some time uh, looking at what is that thing um, that I can do to shift, right, and resource differently, and what are
Yeah.
the resources I'm willing to go to. And one of the things when you're resourcing from God, I think, is when people oftentimes don't know how to surrender, how to release something,
Mhm.
how to release something to a higher power, how to just say, hey, this is you take it.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, what we do is we say, hey, God, show me what I need to do so I can fix it.
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
that's a fundamental um,
Flaw. I'm gonna use
block.
the word
Yeah, it's a
flaw.
flaw in how you pray, right? How you really
Yeah.
because you're not really
It's like,
surrendering anything. Your ego
no.
mind, your
Mhm.
your resource, your mind, your lower level mind is still saying, "I can handle this. Just give me a
Mhm.
hint. Tell me what I need to do, and I'll take care of it." Versus
Yeah.
you take it. You take it
Take it. Yeah. You
completely
give it up.
and
And then
surrendering it.
when you surrender it and give it up, he'll give you the answers
Yeah,
of how to get through it,
yeah,
He won't it's not like, "Okay, like you said, I wanna fix it." Like,
yeah,
well, you're going to, but he's
yeah,
gonna tell you how to
yeah.
fix it. Your higher power is gonna tell you how to
You
gonna help
have
you
to,
through it.
you have to
Mhm,
release completely this need for you to have the answer.
mhm. Yep.
And that's where inspired thought pops in, right? You quiet the mind, revelation pops in, inspiration pops in, divine guidance, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
Jesus talking, right? It happens.
Yep.
Boom. But it
Mhm.
happens. The other way that I've seen that communicated and taught is that the Holy Spirit is a still small voice,
Mhm.
is a very quiet whisper the back. And that's why meditation is so important because it quiets the mind and then you hear the
Mhm.
whisper. Right? Like
Yep.
even your story, right? You didn't hear the
Mhm.
whisper. You kinda heard the whisper, but
Yeah,
you're like, "Eh."
exactly.
You know? And that's what we all do, right? It's so easy to dismiss the whisper
Mhm.
because and this yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit deep here. So this is, the egoic mind will always argue.
Mhm.
God's mind will never. The Holy Spirit won't argue with you. You say, "I
Mhm.
wanna do it this way." You say, "Okay,
Go ahead.
I love you anyway."
Yep.
right? I love you
Yep.
unconditionally. So, you want your bagel, go for it.
Yeah, go for it. My story becoming a teacher.
Yeah.
You want to become a teacher? Well, I'm doing this. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing it. Okay.
Okay.
So there were 6 or 7 times I should have been a teacher, gone to that path. I
Yeah.
just did. No, this is where I want
Six
to
or
go.
seven messages,
Yeah.
signals,
Okay.
God winks telling you go this way, and you're like, no, I'm doing it
Yep.
my way. Okay.
And as
Right.
I'm in Colorado on my knees praying, what do you want me to do? Oh,
You've,
welcome.
you've been telling
Glad
me.
glad you came into my little
Yes.
presence for a minute.
Yes.
Let's talk.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Real,
like
real
going
surrender.
like, oh. And
Yeah.
so that I mean, that was kinda, and I got another, like Sheldon's talking about when they whisper, you hear the
The
whisper.
whisper.
And I will tell you, I know people have always had that. I've heard God, and I've never heard God. It's like, well, sometimes you might hear God, but I've never heard. Okay, as in we say the word heard
Yeah.
or the whisper. I've felt it and I've heard it
Yeah.
in my mind. If you say that, talking to myself,
Yep.
but it's not a sound. And
Yep.
one day we'll talk about my God experience because I had a true God experience, which was amazing, and it changed me. In the
Mhm.
situation I was going through and all the rigmarole, is like, dude, I got you. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, my bad. Thank you.
Hey, by the
But we'll
way,
talk about that. Yeah.
that's a sign of a true experience. It changes you. If it didn't
Mhm.
change you, then it wasn't a true experience.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
yeah. It's
And
true.
the processes that it went through, it'll be fun. I love to talk about it one day. We'll talk about it. It's just kind of, it's a cool little like, wow.
Write a little note for that one. We have
So
to bring that one up. We'll have to make
I
that.
will do that. Yeah. By the way, we do write notes because
Yeah.
we forget. we, yeah, my birthday's coming up, and yes, I'm older than Sheldon.
Happy
Um,
birthday. Yes, you are by months.
right? You,
We s
I'm what, 2 April, May, June. So
Yeah.
I'm 2 months ahead of you. And Dodge always says, "Yo, at this time of year, you're older than me by a year." I'm like, "Shut up! It's a month." So,
We used to celebrate ours in the middle, right? And I think in May sometime,
yep.
and
Hmm.
we would
Yeah.
get drunk or something like that back
Yeah,
in the day.
yeah, we always did, yeah. But I will say real quick, I am younger than David Hill. Sorry, Hill. Because this is
Amen.
February, so I'm older. I am younger than somebody. So out there. But yeah, we always would go and celebrate right in the middle. We'd
Yep,
figure out right in that middle, and we'd go celebrate and have
yep.
our little celebrations. So yeah, those were fun. But people, we want you to know that it's a fearful world out there. It's a crazy world out there right now. But
Don't give in
just
to the fear, right?
yeah,
And know that there's
practice that
resources you
peace.
Yep.
Yeah, practice that peace. Know that, and resources. Go find those resources. Don't go off of your own information right now.
Yep,
Get help from others. Seek
yep.
information from a friend. Like you said, sitting down and having a beer,
And
sitting
and
having dinner, whatever it might be. Now, obviously, over drinking could not, could be the
Yep.
problem. But go
And
out there
also
and ask
being
for
a
that
fr
help.
and being aware that when you're reaching out to your resources, are they resources that are gonna elevate your thinking?
Yes.
Or it's like that
Hmm.
echo chamber where they're just gonna go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and make it even worse, right?
Yes.
So
And
we can do that with
if you're on,
people and
hmm
online,
hmm
right? Where it's an echo chamber where they're saying the same stuff and they can actually make your fear worse. So being
yes.
aware of that and
So
what are
that's on that side. Now let's flip
Mhm.
it over. If a friend comes to you and you see that and they're talking to you and asking you for help, be that open person. Okay. Come from love, come from, open mindedness, and say, hey, where can I help you? Because they're
Mhm.
coming to you.
Mhm.
And if you're not the
Be
resource, then find a resource for them because they're
Yeah,
having a hard time finding it. So on both sides, wherever you're
yes,
coming from on that.
beautiful.
Um, yeah. And be willing to listen.
Yep.
That voice inside your head. I mean, you got
It
both sides telling you stuff,
Yeah.
and you just got to know which the good one is. It's like, I mean, yeah, when you're going like, okay, the bagel way is off, so I guess I'm not getting a bagel. I mean, now if it says go this way and it's a dirt road, there's no way to go. Then you may be thinking too much.
Yeah.
Okay, getting too
And
different world, but
and recognizing that the divinely loving, inspired whisper or
mhm.
wink, as you say, the wink, will
Yes,
never argue with you. It
hmm
won't argue with you. So if you
uh-uh.
dismiss it, it will just disappear.
Yep. Hmm.
It'll just be like, "Okay. I
Came,
love you
came
anyway."
back 3 times yesterday, and it didn't
It'll
fight me. Like you said, it just went okay. Go
it'll
ahead.
it'll just be like, "Okay." And like your teacher story, 6, 7 times, it'll keep reminding you, "Hey, hey, try this." No, no, oh, okay.
So
"Hey,
I remember.
you wanna try this?" "No." "Okay." And it'll
Mhm.
keep reminding you over and over and over and over. I always say that the Holy Spirit is like your GPS. on Google Maps or something, right? You make a wrong turn, it
Yep.
doesn't criticize you. It just says, "Oh, you got to turn here." You make another
Yep.
wrong turn, and it doesn't say you screwed up. You're going in the wrong direction. It just says, "Hey, make a U-turn over here." Right? It keeps giving you.
Mhm.
It updates your direction. It updates your direction to your North Star, or whatever you want to call that. It keeps updating
Yep.
it. No criticism, no judgment. It just refreshes and gives you new direction. And that's what's happening, but we always have the ability to ignore it.
Yep. Exactly. So I picture as I was driving when I first I was like, "Oh, good, he did it," you
Yeah.
know. Second, then it's all of a sudden like rolled his eyes and I looked at my mom and dad. Go like, "Really? Do we
Here
have
he
to?
goes
What?
again.
Yeah, what are you doing with this guy?" And it's like finally, like I get the bag. It's like we tried.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
well,
All
it's
right.
okay. It's his
No big
choice.
deal.
So I
Exactly.
pictured it a funny way of them going like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Smithers." Yeah, it's like so. Um, I got a shirt for a friend. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. It says when God it says because this is totally her. When God made me, um, he smiled and then he giggled and said, "This will be fun." I go, That was totally her. That makes sense.
That's
Like,
great.
yeah, this will giggle. This will be fun. So I just got to look at it that way and just kind of so listen to those voices and hopefully you
Yeah.
practice peace as you're going through the problems with that fear. um, take the time just to wake up and come to that point of of peace, of love, acceptance, and just openness. And
Yep.
so, and take that day. So, and don't forget, as Sean just put up, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and or share with friends because some people you may know someone going through some stuff that may need to hear something. We got a lot of episodes out there. Take a look through them and see what someone might need help
Yep.
on. Other than that, we hope you guys have a great week. It's been exciting.
Yep. Thanks for
Hope you
joining us.
continue. Yes, continue down this journey with us. And if you'd like something, subscribe. Please like and subscribe so we hear what's going on
Yep.
and comment to us because we'd love to hear comments.
Lots of love to you guys. Take care.
Great week.